My name is Albert. I'm 31 years old. I did my undergraduate at Carleton University in Ottawa in health sciences and a minor in psychology. I immigrated to Canada 6 years ago from Ghana, but I lived in England for a bit before I moved here. In 2004, I left Ghana for England on a visitor's working permit. So I worked in England for about 2 years, and then after I'd had some money, I could have used it for anything, but I still had that sort of passion to pursue medicine. So I decided to pay my tuition here in Canada, move away from England to here to pay my tuition. The only thing I knew about Canada was the capital, which was Ottawa, and that was how I ended up in Ottawa. So I moved there, didn't know anybody, he didn't have any family, and I had to start life all over again. I was in Carleton for about the first term, and after the first term I had run out of money, so I couldn't go on. I couldn't continue school anymore, so I had to drop out. And then moved from Ottawa to Toronto. I lived in Toronto for about 1.5 years, and then when I had some more money, went back to school. So my biggest barrier has been like separating from everyone, being by myself, not knowing anyone in this country, and also the financial aspects of things. I worked all the way through my undergrad. I worked in a lab. I worked several call center jobs. I worked in grocery stores. I worked in several places, as much work as I could get my hands on, to pay for my rent or to pay for anything, because the money I get from the government was paying my tuition, but it wouldn't pay for living expenses. So that was how sort of I paid my way through. Like I said, when I first moved here, I didn't have any family or relatives in Canada. So the only contacts I had were the friends that I made in my undergraduate, who had also tried to get into medical school, several times before I even started my journey of taking my undergrad, and they always discouraged me. They discouraged me on the basis that they had tried and hadn't been successful. They advised me against medical school in Canada because they felt that I was at a disadvantage for my skin color. They also felt I was at a disadvantage for being a new immigrant to the country. And the only positive advice I got was maybe if I really wanted to go to med school, try to apply to a Caribbean school or go to Ireland or any other country. It sort of got me worried. For the most part, I was actually considering what they were saying, but I also knew what I wanted, and I thought I should pursue that. So the only advice that I think I'll give to any student who's trying to apply to medical school, especially UBC, is sort of to sum up what I've already said, like a summary of it, is that it is possible. You don't have to be a specific student. You can be yourself, but most importantly, you have to love it. You have to want to be a physician. You have to have that first love to help. And once you have that, I think everything else that you do on the side will show that love for the job, and when it comes to application, it will see you through. Difficulties, everyone encounters them. How you see your difficulties is very subjective on how you perceive it. So I think that no matter what you encounter, if you see it as something that is propelling you into your future, it will put a positive spin on things, as opposed to thinking that, oh, I have to write the MCAT, and why do I have to write it, and I'm scared. No, it is what is going to propel you into coming to medical school, so you can do it and you'll be where you want to be. And the last thing I also want to say is that if anyone out there is also facing financial difficulties and stuff like that, it can be very daunting, but there is usually help. Just reach out, do the things you love to do, talk to people, socialize, and you would be surprised where help will come from.